everybody. Welcome back to the Broadside Podcast. I am Andy Elliott. This episode is long overdue. It's been a little while since I've got to do an episode. I'm kind of currently right now in a full arm cast decorated by my kids. But I sit down with Gary Strassburg, his son-in-law, Brian, Jake Collier from One Outdoors, and Dane Czarnecki, which I probably butchered his last name. We all have the same interest in hunting and the outdoors and preserving that here in the state of Washington. Dane and Gary do a lot of work talking at commission meetings, and Jake is the owner of One Outdoors, which we get into what that is. I encourage everybody to go check that out, oneoutdoors.org. And we also talk with Dane and Gary about their work they put in at the commission meetings and making sure our voices are heard, and how maybe we can put together a playbook and an easy button for people who want to get more involved in talking at commission meetings and make that overwhelming process a little bit easier on everybody. Thanks for joining me. Please, if you enjoy the show, like it, share it, maybe subscribe, but anything helps. So we'll go ahead and get going, and we can just start by you guys introducing yourself. Gary, if you want to go ahead and go first, and Brian as well.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Gary Strassburg. I'm 55 years old. I've been hunting and fishing in Washington State since I was about 7 or 8 with my dad, of course, uncles and grandfathers. 20-year Navy veteran, retired back in 06, and still work for the Department of Defense over at Naval Air Station Whidbey Island. It's where I've been since the Navy dropped me off there in 91. But I grew up down by Mount Rainier, small town called Ording, Washington, and so ran around the foothills down in there. And now I'm just sick and tired of what's going on in this state as far as what's happening with our hunting rights. So here we are.
Brian Leets, 32. I was in the Navy for 6 years, came out. Then now I work for the Navy again as a civilian like Gary. On the same base, just did different things. I write contracts for the base. I got into hunting 6-7 years ago. Gary got me into it, my stepdad, and kind of been delving into it, every year a little bit more and more as I start learning. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm just excited to learn more about hunting and be able to continue hunting is kind of my big thing now. It's like as soon as I get into it, now it's kind of getting a little iffy. So I'd like to be able to see. I think our internet.
Oh yeah, you're good. Thank you guys, and also thank you both for your service. Jake, go ahead if you want to introduce yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you guys. Jake Collier.
Yeah, thank you guys.
32, since everyone's throwing their age out there,
I did. I'm old.
Hey, it's all good. It's just a number. But born and raised in Washington State, had the chance to live in Tennessee for a while, played baseball and went to school out there. Played baseball for about 25 years, actually, so that's kind of how I define a lot of my life is by baseball. But moved back, jumped into the workforce, ran a couple startup companies, and then moved into we'll call it a work of passion, working in the outdoor space. So started One Outdoors. We book trips all over the world. We sell gear, and then we have a nonprofit where we do some fun stuff. Started doing that a couple years ago, and really this year we're just starting to ramp up on a few things. So lots of fun. I'm certainly interested in learning more about hunters' rights and so forth as it pertains to Washington State. I think there's a lot going on. And as a company, as an outdoors company specifically, operating internationally and domestically, I think it's important for us to stay in tune with what's going on. And Dane and I have connected quite a bit, so I've appreciated Dane's diligence in digging into legislation and seeing what we can do as hunters to keep our rights as hunters. I call them God-given rights. The state might feel otherwise, but regardless, I think we need to work together to find balance and figure out what is right for everyone. So I'm looking forward to learning and being here today. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. It looks like we might have lost Dane there for a second. He's
Yeah,
signing
I'm
back
back.
on.
You guys,
Yeah, we can hear you. Your videos.
yeah, I hear you guys.
Uh,
Sorry about that. I'm not sure.
no worries, man. Yeah, I don't know if you want to wait for your video to load or if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself as well, Dane.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and introduce myself. I don't want to get kicked again with the video on. My name is Dane Czarnecki. I'm 17 years old, and I'm a newer hunter. And I think it's about time everyone, regardless of what type of hunter they are and where they're at, get involved with hunting. Because when it comes to getting involved, I say with current events, I'd say hunting is one of the ways we can make the most impact, way more than just say other types of politics. And with hunting as well, and with the type of state that we live in, it's time that a lot of people start standing up. And I think we got to start getting the message out there. There's still so many hunters and anglers who don't know what's happening, and there's just a lot of people who don't really care. And that's a little bit about me. I'll hand it off to you guys.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I mean, we're all on here kind of with the same passion in hunting and the idea of trying to, make sure we preserve it. I'd like to get deeper into that, but I think to start off a little bit more lighthearted would be kind of a good deal. So I don't know if Gary and if you guys want to kind of dive into more of what you guys got planned this year, hunting wise, trips, whatever you got going on.
Sure. Our annual elk hunting trip is going to be a little shorter this year. The wife and I and the kids here, we're all planning on going to Yellowstone National Park in August. And then my daughter, my oldest, is going to give birth to my first granddaughter on my side. We've got grandkids on that side.
Congratulations.
Hey, thanks. The end of August. So we're going to be pretty busy in August and September. But then we'll start our annual elk hunting trip. We don't know yet. We don't know if we're doing muzzleloader or a modern firearm yet. We've been modern firearm. Excuse me. I've killed a few elk in this state, and the only time I've done it is with a muzzleloader. So I'm trying to talk these guys into going muzzleloader hunt, but we'll see how that goes. And then just deer hunting for us. We kind of have a fallback because we have access to some private property on Whidbey Island, and there it's either sex, buck or doe. So it's kind of like our fallback that if deer season doesn't work out somewhere else, we can always just drive 5 minutes from home and hunt in the woods there on it's his grandparents' property.
Oh, nice. So is that like a limited firearm deal there on Whidbey Island?
It is. It's shotgun only. If you're doing modern fire, or if you do modern firearm, it's shotguns only. Or you can use a muzzleloader or a bow during modern season. But the cool part about the modern or the shotgun, geez, I can't even talk this morning. The muzzleloader or archery seasons, he gets an archery tag. Usually get a muzzleloader tag for deer, and the seasons are very generous. So he's got his season coming up in September for bow. I'll have mine the first couple of weeks of October for muzzleloader. But then our late season runs from like November 5th to December 31st. So it's a long season. So that's why it's kind of our little fallback season. Pretty cool.
Nice. What the heck just happened? Well, I switched cameras. Okay.
Different camera.
Yeah. I'll try to fix that. So what do you got? You guys are just going on a family trip there in Yellowstone?
Yep, just family trip to Yellowstone. I don't know. We'll probably be gone about 8 or 10 days. We got 5 days inside the park, and then we'll
try to get some bear hunting maybe in after that.
Ooh, even before that, I forgot about bear hunting. Geez, and me being as old as I am, I've always had a bear tag. I've just never hunted bears specifically, except for the last 2 years. And that, especially with what's been going on in this state, now really hunting bears. So yeah, we'll be hunting bears before Yellowstone, and like Brian said, after Yellowstone as well.
Nice. Yeah, I actually I don't know what's going on with my video here. I lived in Yellowstone for 3 seasons doing a job, working a construction job there. So
cool.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool experience.
Very cool.
So what about you, Jake? What do you got going on this year?
I've got a pretty healthy mix of trips planned where we're filming for One Outdoors between Florida and Texas and Alaska, a couple other places. And then on the personal side, obviously, which I'm, equally excited about, probably going to chase Roosevelt elk this year over in Western Washington. And then I've got a couple baseball buddies flying in from Tennessee who want to do a Washington mule deer hunt. So we're going to test our luck on that. Staying over in Concanoli. Got a little spot over there. Those are probably the two biggest hunts that I'll personally get out on this year. Aside from that, just a lot of work travel, storytelling, so forth like that.
Nice. Yeah. I haven't really done a whole lot of West Side elk hunting. I'd planned on doing it this year. I actually bought an archery tag and everything over there, and then halfway through sighting my bow in and switching arrows and doing the typical archery stuff, I hurt my arm. So I haven't been able to. I'm not gonna be able to shoot all year. I don't even know if I'm gonna be ready for the season. So I'm gonna have to switch my tag probably over to modern.
Well, I've got redemption over in Western Washington because the last time I went, we patterned a bull for 3 mornings in a row, and then that last morning I was going up to chase it. This bull was coming over the hill, like just about to come over the hill, and we had a 350-yard shot on it, and then I hear bull down. Someone else got him on the other side of on the hill. So got to keep testing your luck. It's those things that keep you coming back sometimes. You got to fight the pressure in certain areas equally as you do finding the animals. So
yeah, for sure.
It's all good.
All right, Dane, what do you got going on? How many years have you been hunting now?
So I got into it late 2021, went hunting. I went fall turkey hunting last year, didn't work out. Then I did some waterfowl hunting, got my first ducks, and now waterfowl. I'm pretty excited about waterfowl. It's pretty awesome. And this year, my year's really booked up, so I'm not sure how much hunting I'm going to be able to do. I had my Wyoming trip, and then in July, I'm heading down to Mexico. My family owns a place down there, so I'm going to be doing some fishing. It's right on the Sea of Cortez. And then later in July, for about a week, I'm heading back to Cheyenne for Frontier Days, and I got family down there. And then after that, we're still kind of figuring things out. Either we're gonna head north to Jackson from Cheyenne. My stepdad has family up there, or we're gonna head to Glacier National Park. If Jackson doesn't work out, there's just personal stuff going on right now. Or we might just stay in Cheyenne again. I love Cheyenne. It's really one of the coolest places I've been. It's just so peaceful and quiet. And then as for hunting, I think this year it's just going to be more of some upland I want to give a try, waterfowl. I didn't put any anything because I don't know what my situation is going to look like after high school. I don't know where I'm going to be. And I didn't want to put in for special tag only to get chosen when I'm unprepared. And so I decided not to put in for anything. And then I'm heading back to Wyoming for a week in October. My uncle's a big hunter, him and his boys. I'm really close with them. They're like some of the coolest people out there. They are doing elk, deer, and antelope in 1 week. And it all works out really well for them. Sorry, what'd you say?
Good luck.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. They're gonna show me the ropes some more, and I'm excited to see how they do it over in Wyoming. And it's really pretty out there. So in terms of hunting this year, I'm not really sure how much I'll be able to do. I think it's mostly going to be waterfowl and upland here in Washington this year. I couldn't get out for spring turkey. It just didn't work out. But as for next year, I'm a big goal person, and I write down all my goals. So a goal I have for next year is to maybe do Wyoming antelope or Washington mule deer. There's just more I got to do, and I'm a big goal person, and I'll do whatever it takes to reach those goals.
Yeah, that's it's kind of something I've started picking up too, is starting writing down things that I want to achieve. I feel like it helps quite a bit.
It really does, yeah.
Now that I can't write but so Yeah, I don't know if you guys want to kind of get into the brass tacks of kind of what's going on in this state. I've kept up pretty well. I've kind of fallen off the last little bit, got busy, but go ahead and I don't know if Dane, if you want to start. I've seen you've been attending meetings quite often. Maybe give a rundown of kind of what you've been seeing.
Yeah. So the big thing we have going on right now is in our state is the conservation policy. So on the commission, the head chair, I don't want to get too negative, I don't want to ruin the vibe, but she has this conservation policy, and what it is, it's this preservationist mindset policy. And essentially what it does is that it kicks hunters out of the discussion. It's supposed to accommodate for the biodiversity loss in our state. And it's being the meeting where this is being discussed. It's in Seattle on June 23rd and 24th. And the fact that it's in Seattle should tell you all you need to know. But I've been recruiting a lot of speakers this past month, I'd say. And Gary was there. We hosted a Zoom meeting where Washington hunters, we really got down to discussing, okay, what do we need to do? What's going on? And how can we continue to advocate for hunting in Washington? We're hosting another one on June 8th. So I'm looking forward to that. And then as for speaking at the commission meeting, I think that's the part where it's really important is that people show up and speak. I think it was the March meeting, a commissioner, she ended up saying that we're hearing a lot more hunters now. And now I think now that they don't like just how many hunters are speaking now. And I think we've done a really good job on getting people to speak. But I think we have, and I understand people are busy, I'm busy and I probably won't be able to attend a lot of commission meetings after June due to how busy I'm going to be. But I think just getting people to speak respectfully with facts and concise, I think can go a long way. And as for getting more people in the know, I think the big part is that not everyone has social media, so not everyone can see what's going on. But I think some people don't want to get involved because I think some people might believe that they don't think they can make a difference. But Howl has been one of the best resources for this. They have been savers for hunting, really. They have made big efforts in Montana, Oregon, Florida, and I don't think those states would have gotten that far if not for Howl. I think the big part now is, okay, people know what's going on. Now I think we need to start getting more people in the know and figuring out how can we continue to advocate for it and get non-hunters on our side, because the WDFW director, great dude, he put out an official survey by the state, and only 10% of Washingtonians are anti-hunting. And there's a big number of Washingtonians who either A, aren't anti-hunting, or B, just don't care. And I think that's where that's where effort needs to be focused on, is showing non-hunters, hey, this is why we hunt. This is why hunting is conservation and helpful for the environment. That's kind of what I have now. If anyone else wants to chime
in. Well, Dan, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here. I ran across you from one of the meetings here a while back, March, even further back. And like you said, one thing about being at the meetings, whether you're in person or over Zoom or whatever it is, trying to stay focused and trying to stay respectful. I lost my cool in 2 meetings, and you can hear it in my voice. I've gone back and listened to it, and you can hear it in my voice, and you can hear the inflection that I have in my voice towards some of the members on there. It is what it is, because it's hard to not get, lack of a better word, pissed. It's hard to not be mad. And so we have to focus more on, you attract more with honey than vinegar. And so hopefully we can make all that work, because this preservationist mindset that's coming through, they are pushing us consumptive users out on purpose. They're trying to pull funds from other areas of the state, so the Pittman-Robertson funds won't be used. So sportsmen, sportswomen will not have a voice. That is their goal. And another thing of that, and if you ever hear any of your buddies, well, I'm not buying anything in Washington, I'm going to another state. tell them to at least try hunting in the state, stay in the state, because that's another thing they want. They want us to leave. They want us to, I mean, yeah, we're going to Wyoming next year for pronghorn. We do want to do out of state hunts, but we still hunt in our own state, because if we don't, it's going to be gone. And people don't understand that. You can't just throw up your arms and say, I quit. But a lot of people have, and it's hard to keep people convinced.
That's how we lose our voice.
Yeah.
Well, out of state, we lose our own voice.
Yeah, and there's like a lot. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jake.
Oh no, I was just going to say, I agree with that. I think of Theodore Roosevelt's saying when he's like, walk softly or speak softly and carry a big stick.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, it's like there's a lot of anti-hunting groups that they don't speak softly, they're really loud. So yeah. We also have to figure out how to be controlled, but also have a loud voice enough to where we can, articulate ourselves well and talk about these things that are going on with factual based knowledge and evidence and presentation skills, all of that stuff. But yeah, that's what makes me. And most hunters know Theodore Roosevelt. Like a lot of his methods and models are still used today in the outdoors, as we know. So.
Yeah, I think everybody should speak up. I think that it's detrimental though if you get some guys on there that are kind of not educated is not the right word, but getting on there and just throwing shade at the commissioners and not having a planned out speech with facts and the calm voice. There's sometimes that I've watched and I've heard people get on there and it's almost kind of cringeworthy where they're just basically throwing attacks and stuff like that doesn't help. But I've seen lately that it's gotten really good, and you guys have done a great job at coming with an educated, factual statement made that that's going to help a lot more than calling names.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as well, like, it only adds on to the fire. Like I know some groups, they do weekly digests and they write articles. And I will admit I went on a tangent at one meeting and I'm never doing that again. That is a really big thing. Like hunters, we can't just go on tangents at these meetings. And I've been doing a lot better with that, just writing stuff down, fact checking and everything. Because that's how we can prove points. And I'm still, I'm going to be honest, like I'm mad at what's going on, but we got to keep our cool. And I think that is so important, especially as we go into the next few years with what's been going on. And I think as well with this policy, while we've been recruiting speakers, the big part is being respectful. And BHA, they have this amazing resource for first-time speakers. It's a template on this is why I love hunting and fishing, and talk about why the North American model of wildlife conservation works. BHA has been a really big help with getting new speakers, and that new template that they made for first-time speakers is going to go a long way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm signed up through those guys and Howl, and they kind of both they give you the cookie cutter like easy step to be able to voice your opinion and go in there with a plan. Because every time I hear one of the antis get on there, it's almost cultish, where they kind of always start the same way, they have the same points. It's you can tell that they're kind of using the same tools as like having a pre-written formula basically for what they're trying to get across.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah.
And about go ahead, sorry. That cut you off, Dane?
Sorry, what?
Oh no, you off?
Oh, dude, you're good. You go right.
Okay. Sorry, I was saying, and when you see the anti-speak, about 85% or 90%, excuse me, about 90% of the ones that do speak on there, they're not even just your average Joe like us. We're just average Joe hunters out there, voicing our opinions. Most of them are paid spokesmen. They're either paid, they're either a CEO or they're a lawyer, something like that. They always have somebody that's paid to talk at these things, where we're just coming at this off the cuff and trying to just save our lives as far as our livelihoods. Because I mean, for us, this hits deep because we do this every year. This is our lifestyle, just like you guys. This isn't something that we just take for granted because whatever. We eat, sleep, breathe fishing and hunting in this state, and we don't want to see it gone.
Yeah, it's every time they hold on a second. Yeah, they're a lawyer, they're a whatever. And you can tell that they've been put on the spot, and they might not even have any interest vested in being anti-hunting, but their title and what they are is helping push the agenda.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And a lot of these, from what I've noticed, is some groups that regularly speak are a part of a coalition of these groups. And I think that they're so well connected. And that's the thing, like they don't disagree with each other. They're not divided. I mean, sure, they may speak on different subjects, but they have money, they're united, and they all know what each other, they all agree with what each of them is talking about. And I think sportsmen somehow need to get on the same page as that level. And Sportsmen's Alliance and Howl BHA have been amazing resources for that. They I think will be a big help and will continue to be a big help. Those guys, they're doing great work.
And anti-hunters, those groups, they've acknowledged in some of their writings about how big of a dent Howl for Wildlife has put in their kind of like a little glitch in their armor, as it were. So they see it. The sleeping giant has become awoke. By the sleeping giant, I mean hunters and fishermen, anglers, whatever you want to call it. And so once that sleeping giant finally realizes that there's a chance that we could lose a lot of our rights, I think it's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah, and I think as well, I don't want to get too negative, but I think why it's harder for Washington why it's harder for this whole thing to go national is not a lot of out-of-staters hunt in Washington because we're such a densely populated state. And also as well, I don't know. I mean, from all the research I've done, it seems Washington isn't very appealing to non-resident hunters. And I think that's why Washington goes under the radar. Maybe that's one
It
reason.
does. You look at sorry, go.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
And you're right, because when you look at all of the, like you go to Top Rut or any of those, or Hunt and Fool, they have all the hunting numbers and stuff and all the picks and all the things for all your out-of-state hunts for every single Western state but Washington, because we just don't have the hunter draw. Now, I've been hunting in the state a long time. Back in the late 80s and early 90s, we had when you could hunt branched antler bulls in Eastern Washington with an over-the-counter tag, it was very enticing to people to come to this state for and there weren't as many people out in the woods back then either. But it was more enticing. Washington has slowly changed their management styles, and now your only place for an over-the-counter branched antler bull is on the West Coast, and we're going to chase Rosies one of these days too. But the appeal is gone. There's not that same appeal there used to be years ago. So you're right, Dane, that this state does fly under the radar because nobody nationally wants to come here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember growing up. So like I mentioned in the beginning, I played baseball for 25 years. And I did not get a chance to do a lot of big game hunting. Bird hunted here and there, got on a couple of deer hunts with buddies periodically, fished my brains out whenever I could, though. But I remember when I was younger hearing these awesome hunting stories in Washington State. And then I played baseball for a long time. And then now it's like there's still some great stories. And Washington State's a great place to hunt. But your comment makes me laugh because I was in I think it was Western Hunt, one of the seminars with Hunt and Fool, and they were throwing all the states to go to based on points and where you should go, and they're like, Washington, just don't even try.
Don't even bother.
And I was like, man, I remember just hearing all these great stories growing up. And then now that we're here and it's like, don't even try. I'm like, what's changed? What happened? So I think it really is worthy of digging into further and kind of building that voice to see how we can, facilitate some awesome experiences for hunters in Washington State, because they exist. They're here. I think we just need to chip away at it. So.
Yeah, it's hard to believe how popular Idaho is, and even people traveling to Oregon from out of state, and then we're here with, if not the same, if not better habitat for wildlife, and then it's a sad sight for hunting in this state.
Yeah. And I think as well, like where the problem is where can we go from here? Credit where credit is due. There are so many great people in the department. I've gotten to know quite a few people in the department, and not isolating those people that are pro hunting in the department is just so important. The department has made a big effort with R3 recruitment, keeping hunting alive. And I know some of the guys in R3, and they are just spot on with the work that they do. And they really are. Those guys are serious about keeping hunting around. And the director is pro hunting, and there are pro hunting commissioners. And I think not isolating them is super important, and just working with them, showing and just talking with them, I think it's important. And just show them, hey, this is, how people are affected. This is how we feel. But going about it in a respectful, in a way with facts, is super important. And I see on social medias when people comment on the Facebook posts or whatever, I kind of get a kick out of reading those ones. But some people are just so negative, and I just don't think that's the way to go. Like, I get it, people are mad, but it's like we can't just be negative 24/7.
Yeah, I find myself. I have notifications on for WDFW posts, so I kind of get a notification anytime they post anything on social media, and I don't know how many times I've typed in deleted comments that I'm like, no, let's not go there today.
I've done the same thing. I think we all have.
Yeah.
After you reread it, you go, I probably shouldn't put that out there.
Yeah, it's not worth another ban on Facebook.
Not only that too, but and Dane and I have talked about this a little bit, but I'll kind of wrap this story around here. But when you post a comment on Instagram, I'm not saying don't, by the way, like you got to have your voice and speak your mind, but
sure.
They can't consider certain things, right? Because it's not a legal forum for discussion and consideration. Right. It's a social platform. So that's not really the place to just go nuts on it. But I do think like developing some type of playbook, like Dane, we've talked a little bit about that, where, not something so cookie cutter, but something that educates folks enough to where it stirs a pot and people want to participate more or step into meetings or even learn how to speak at a meeting. Like those things that's step number one, is the education piece on what's going on and doing it in a way where people can get involved. Because up until this point, it's like, this type of engagement is what's drawing people in to learn more. However, what's the next step, right? Like, where do you go from here? You can't just jump into a meeting. What's that? And so I got to give credit to Dane, because he's doing a great job diving in, kind of building a community around what's going on. So keep at it, Dane. I appreciate you, man. We all appreciate you.
Thanks, man. That means so much.
We do.
Thanks, guys.
What's cool is that what I like, Dane, is I'm an old dude. I'm 55, and I see a young guy like you with the fire in your eyes and you're going screaming with your hair on fire with this. You got me pumped up because I darn near gave it up, but I kept on for him and his kids, my grandkids. I want to see these guys. It's our lifestyle. We want to keep hunting. And it's really cool to see younger guys. I mean, a couple of you guys are in your 30s. Brian's 30. But to see an even younger kid than these guys get after it like you're doing. When you reached out to me, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we BS'd on the phone for damn near an hour and a half. It was really cool. And it's neat to be able to talk to guys like you that you're bringing this to the forefront to a peer group that where hunting isn't really a way of life as much as it was like when I was your age. So it's really cool to see you involved in that way.
Thanks, man. That means so much, you guys. Thank
Absolutely.
you for that. And I'm trying to keep at it as best as I can, but also do the best way to go about it is respectful. And you don't want to be on this 24/7, because with me, it's like I want to learn more about hunting, rather than spend all my time on the ad. So don't get me wrong, I'll still advocate, but just learning more about hunting really is important, And I think with that, when you look at other states, they just do such a good job. And I'm not going to lie, it's hard not to not want to leave this state, because I've told a few of you guys I was planning on getting involved with the semi-bird campaign for a little bit. And I got on the phone with one of them. I don't want to go too deep into politics, but they are planning on making an effort with Washington Sportsmen. I've chatted with them about that because Hillary Franz is running for governor, and she's the director of the Natural Resource Department. And with her, that's going to be controversial. There's been some controversy since she's been in her office, and I believe that's getting with sportsmen and people who love the outdoors is a great way to help them out. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to get too involved with them. I'll help out where I can, but I think there is some good stuff coming. And while I was in Cheyenne, dude, Wyoming is like the freedom state, man. It's awesome. So many wildlife everywhere. It's so beautiful. And it's hard to not want to, like I said, it's hard not to want to leave this state. I just don't know where I'm going to end up in the next few years. So trying to figure that out. But for me right now, it's currently between the east side or Wyoming.
Yeah, and I know these guys said it too, but I wanted to say thanks, Dane, for all the effort you're putting in too. We need guys to do that everywhere and spread awareness. It's funny because I'm a year into having my FFL, federal firearms license dealer here. I kind of run it out of my house for now with the Elliott Outdoors thing. Working on some stuff to kind of spread my wings as we speak with one clipped. And it's funny how often I talk to guys that didn't even have a clue that laws like the assault weapon quote unquote ban was going on. And
It's amazing to me.
Yeah, like that, there's a lot of people that have no idea that spring bear ended or that any of this stuff's going on, and they just blindly hop down to Cabela's and get their tag, and it's not for everybody to be as maybe entwined as Dane is. Some people don't have the time, but we still have to get guys like that might just go up to elk camp once a year with their family, not even leave camp, but buy a tag. We got to get them involved in the know that this stuff's even going on, because the amount of people that I run into that just have no clue about any of it, it's kind of mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
very, very much so.
And I think a big part is just A, not everyone has social media, and B as well. Like I'm a really busy guy, so with what I have going on, the advocacy part, it's like, sorry, I'm trying to think of a better word, but it's like, I'm trying not to spend all my time on it, I mean, I'd say it's been really quiet the past few weeks. And I think it'll heat up again towards June. But after the June meeting, I just have so much going on. I'm going to be a senior next year, and I have quite a few trips planned. So I might cool it down a little bit I will cool it down with the advocacy just because I have so much going on. I still plan on helping out where I can, but I'm just so busy nowadays, and I can hardly keep up with it. And I actually, Andy, I wanted to tell you a story since you're an FFL dealer. So I was in Murdoch's. It's this ranching outdoor store in Cheyenne. I'm at the gun counter, and great dude. We're chatting it up about hunting and firearms. And apparently, according to ATF, Wyoming can't sell firearms to Washington residents, which was that was weird. He was like, because like he has his poster on, and he's like, oh, whoa, this just went into effect in April, and I'm like, wait, what? And I don't know. I mean, I couldn't stay too long and dive into it, but I just thought it was something funny to share because, like, Wyoming has like no gun bans.
Yeah, I deal with a couple of well, one mostly ATF investigators. They're kind of like almost my babysitter. So a lot of people, like, if I leave town for a period of time, I have to let them know that I'm going to be gone. So I'm kind of in contact with them often, and without saying so much, they kind of rolled their eyes at kind of even what's going on in the state with our gun laws. Not being able to tell me that it's a nightmare here, but you could tell that even they're not happy with what our governor's doing.
I can share a fun story without saying any names because I don't want to get anyone in trouble. But there was a study done by the FBI on this assault weapons ban, and the impact on crime was 0.001%, and they weren't even necessarily able to track that 0.001. And there were some folks that really made it clear that part of it is for optics and moving in the right direction of reducing crime. And don't get me wrong, in a perfect world, I'm like, man, take the guns away from the bad people, But the thing is, we just don't live in a perfect world. We don't live in a perfect world. So you got to look at the facts, you got to look at the impact, and you got to read between the lines on what's for optics and what's not. And part of it does come down to politics and just where you live and where people tend to vote and what they tend to stand for. So, Washington State historically, as a conservative hunter, you're going against the grain quite a bit. But yeah, I do agree with you guys earlier in your statements too. You can't just leave, right? Like, it's easy to want to go to a different state, but stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything too. So got to keep fighting the good fight here.
Yeah, and it's really hard to not, like I said, it's really hard to not want to leave. I mean, things are so incredibly expensive here. And I'm trying not to get too political, but it's just expensive to live here, and it's like things are so crazy right now. I can only imagine how crazy they're going to be when I have kids, And when I was in Wyoming, like I said, there were wildlife everywhere, great people, and just overall, it was just really pretty there, and you didn't have to worry about the big city struggles, and with that, it's like, it's hard to, like I said, it's hard to not want to leave, but for me right now, like, moving out of the state eventually, it has become a real possibility, and I'll advocate where I can, but it's like, there's just so much crazy stuff, where, like, I think in one of the laws that were passed in Washington, Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they have it to where you have to have a permit to own a firearm, I think, or like for new gun owners. I thought that was one of the laws, and that was the part that really sketched me out, and with all these laws being passed, like I said, it's hard to not want to leave.
Yeah, there was 3 bills, firearm bills, that he signed, and a lot of people are basically focusing on the big one, which was banning assault weapons, which I hate saying that word, but what they didn't realize is, like, if a lot of things like a semi-automatic shotgun that might have a foregrip on the front of it that maybe an older gentleman uses to hunt turkeys because he can grip it better is now illegal to sell in the state. Like, they didn't just get away with big scary AR-15s. A .22 pistol that has a threaded barrel is now illegal to buy and sell in the state. But the permit thing, it was and I'm not a lawyer, but it was a deal where you'd have to take a class to maintain a status to keep your guns, and they talked about doing it every so many years. So the ones you already have, you have to go and take this safety training. The one that's really scary is they're trying to make it so me as an FFL, if somebody came and bought a pistol or anything and went and committed an act of violence, that I could be held liable and for that act of violence.
Yes.
So what's going to happen is no insurance company is going to want to insure an FFL dealer in the state of Washington, which means that there won't be any. So that's how they're kind of getting roundabout way of getting rid of selling guns in the state altogether. Just running us all out of the state.
Yeah.
And if there's no hunting, there's no need for rifles.
Yeah. 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 The Second Amendment wasn't there for hunting, though.
It's true. That's very true. You're right there. But you think about it, though, that's kind of in a roundabout way. And the way these people think, that's just how they do it. Any low hanging fruit they can take, that's what they go for.
Yeah. Yeah. And on a more positive note, so did you guys put in for your applications already for any of the OIL tags?
Yeah, I've put in. I'm putting mostly in for points this year. I've kind of gotten to the point where a lot of the stuff in this state I'm putting in for points, and so that when my kids get older, I'm gonna start putting them in for points, and then eventually we can all kind of enter as a group with my kids, so that like they're not gonna be 60 by the time they get to draw a quality elk tag, like I'm gonna be.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a pretty cool story to share. So my uncle in Wyoming, he's like one of the best hunters I know. And he's just a really cool guy, man. He's a big inspiration. So he won, he filled his once in a lifetime moose in Wyoming last year. So what happened was unfortunate. So he won the tag initially. Now, this is from as best as I remember it. He won the tag initially, but then my aunt died in September of 2021, and he decided he couldn't do the hunt just because of how things were. And then in 2022, I believe, yeah, it was 2022, he decided to write a letter to the governor to see if he could get that tag back because he wanted to go on that hunt. And he was entering for, I think, I want to say over 20 years, maybe almost 20. And the governor gave him the moose tag, and he went on the hunt with his boys, and I think I want to say southwestern Wyoming, and it was beautiful, man. It wasn't the biggest moose, but the reason why he got the moose that he did was because the animal it was severely injured, and he wanted to put it out of its misery so it wouldn't die an even worse death. But it was a pretty cool story, and we actually ate some steaks from that moose a few days ago. It was really good. But yeah, no, he is just one heck of a dude, and his kids, I'm pretty close with them, and his boys are going to be great hunters. His youngest boy he's going to be able to hunt for the first time this year, and that's why I'm heading over there with them to learn from them and go along on their hunt with them. So I'm really excited for that. With antelope over there, it's a draw because the tags, they keep going down because of all the winter kill. But with what they're doing is over the counter elk and deer tag. So that'll be really interesting, and I think as well it'll be really pretty, going to pretty areas, man. And that's what's so great about hunting. You get to go to all these pretty areas, and even with fishing, you get to see the beauty of nature and get close, and you can have a closer bond with the outdoors, in my opinion, than and I'm not throwing any shade at any other types of activities, but I think hunting and fishing is the best way to grow that connection with the outdoors.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I put in for a couple of things in Wyoming. Actually, kind of hoping I didn't draw because I'd probably get divorced if I would have drew Wyoming as well, because I got to go to an Idaho deer tag and a Montana deer tag this fall, and I just got back from a Idaho spring bear hunt. So yeah, I don't any more tags in my pocket. I'm gonna be looking for a new house.
I know how that goes, man. We got a new baby that was due 3 days ago. So once she's here, we've got a 20-month-old as well. So aside from the work trips and so forth and the 2 personal hunts, I'm like, you just can't do it. She's gonna kick me out. I won't even sleep on the couch. I'll be sleeping in the yard.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes though she forcefully sends me out hunting. It's like she gets tired of me. She's like, "Go sleep in a tent somewhere."
He's gotta get out of here. That's funny.
Yeah, I think antelope as well. I mean, that's a hunt that like I for sure want to do, in the next. I think so. Like I said, my goal is to do antelope next year, hopefully. But I mean, those tags keep going down, man. I mean, the winter kill has gotten so bad, and
Yeah.
it's not like Washington's gonna have antelope anytime soon. So I'm not sure how many of you guys know, but the Colville and the Yakama nations, they manage antelope in Washington. So they used to be in Washington, but there's been several efforts over the years to reintroduce them. They didn't work. The most recent effort now, I think it's actually going pretty well. I want to say there's 200 in between 200 and 400 antelope in the state, but they're mostly confined to the reservations. But I don't think Washington's ever going to have those numbers recovered to what they once were. And I mean, antelope, yeah, they're just cool animals, though, man. They're fast and they're pretty good to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been buying tags. We've been buying points for antelope now in Wyoming for 4 years. So we were hoping maybe next year we can get drawn, but now, like Dane was saying, the numbers keep going down and down and down. So even applying for it is, might be sketchy enough to not be able to get drawn.
Yeah, I actually watched a pack of wolves chase a group of antelope in Yellowstone when I was living there.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I got some of that on video, and then they they worked a bull elk pretty well and shoved him up a hill into the rest of the pack, and he's massive, and he never even picked up a step. Like he knew he was gonna win, and they all finally gave up. But yeah, I live like a golf ball swing away from the Yakima Nation, the reservation here. So I've ran into some people that have seen some of the speed goats out there. So they're there. I haven't seen any.
Cool.
But... Yeah, it Wolf Washington got them once. But speaking of the wolf thing, man, dude, that has just gotten crazy in our state. And I know Idaho got pretty bad there. I don't know if they're still doing it now, but it got me interested. North Idaho, they had this thing. The wolf problem got so bad, they were paying people, I think, $1,000 at one point to kill wolves. And then everywhere else in Idaho, you get paid $500.
That's the Foundation for Wildlife Management that does that. I'm a member of that. I joined it back in 2018 on my first Idaho bull elk hunt. My wife and I went and we bought wolf tags. And I have a friend of mine that I graduated high school with. He lives over in Kamei, and he told me, join this. He goes, all you have to do is keep track of all your receipts, anything you used to hunt wolves and in Idaho. And if you're successful, you tell them where you got your wolf or whatever you do, and then you mail all that, and they mail you a check. It's that simple, actually. Mm-hmm. And a quick story: my wife and I, we were over there, and I asked my buddy, his name is Mike, and I says, "Well, do you call him? What do you do?" He goes, "Yeah, just howl at him. I mean, just like, ooh." He's like, "Yeah, just do that." Like, no kidding. We're standing on a ridge top. We've been bugling all morning, and in a couple different areas, and nothing answered back. And then we heard a very faint wolf howl off in the distance. So like, huh. I go, well, give it a shot. So I heard just like a ding-a-ling standing on a mountain, and they answered back. And pretty soon they answered again. This time they were closer, and then they're closer. And we could tell there was probably more than probably a 4 or 5 in a pack that were coming. That was kind of a get in the truck or keep hunting. So we kind of stood there for a little. We never did see one, but we heard them, and we heard them every single night in camp. We hunted in the Lolo unit, which is ground zero for where they dropped the wolves in Idaho. It was right there in that unit 10 and unit 12. And it is littered. I mean, all we saw was wolf tracks, wolf poop, but we never saw a wolf. It's not as easy as it sounds, but yeah. So anyway, Dane, that was a long-winded way to say that the Foundation for Wildlife Management, even if you're not an Idaho resident, if you care about, because the wolves are coming west from Idaho. Washington never transplanted wolves in this state. They've all come from Idaho and British Columbia. It's like $35 a year to join. And if you're a member, if you ever do go to Idaho and hunt, they will reimburse you. And if you hunt those wolf infested areas in the north, you get a chance up to $1,000 to $1,500 per wolf.
Wow. Yeah, that's just crazy. I don't think any other state is doing that. I think Minnesota, the whole wolf thing has been really controversial. Minnesota, I think they might have just banned wolf hunting. or they're putting more restrictions on it. I thought I saw something.
I think the Foundation for Wildlife Management actually now has a chapter in Montana, if I'm not correct, not mistaken. In Western Montana, I believe there's one chapter of Foundation for Wildlife in Montana. Yeah, go to their website, look, and it's actually, they've got a lot of information about wolves and where they were dropped off and how they migrated out of the park to the south, and they came up into the ecosystem that way. And then, of course, they were reintroduced in 2 different areas in Idaho. And I knew nothing about it until my friend that lives in Kenai told me about it. And I tell you what, I've learned a lot about wolves from the Foundation for Wildlife Management.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jay.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say I had the privilege to sit next to Justin Webb and his wife. He's the executive director over there.
Oh yeah, he's badass.
Yeah, at a banquet, and the knowledge that they are equipped with in wolves and management is it's unparalleled. So yeah, I would definitely also recommend that organization. After that conversation, it's dialed. They're dialed in exactly like what you were talking about. They'll pay you to essentially come take out wolves. Highly recommended. That would be a personal bucket list item for me, just to participate in that activity, knowing the impact of that, but also I think it would just be a fun hunt, frankly. So yeah, highly recommended.
And the cool part is, resident, non-resident, a wolf tag for a non-resident is $30.
What?
I mean, it's cheap. Yeah, it's not expensive. So if you ever go over there, if you ever do go over and hunt elk or mule deer, whatever you're doing, and it used to be you could buy up to 5 wolf tags. Now I think it's unlimited. I don't even think they have a limit on it anymore. So my buddy Mike in Kamei, he hunts wolves over there, and he also traps wolves. That dude takes anywhere from 10 to 20 wolves a year. So which to me is phenomenal. But it's almost like a no excuse to have a wolf tag in your pocket if you ever hunt Idaho, just because they're so cheap. And I think it'd be badass to get a wolf. So
yeah, absolutely. Every time I go there, I've got one in my pocket. You never know. I've never seen one in Idaho. I've seen them other places and heard them other places in the state, but yeah, you can't like there. There's reduced units down there for a bear tag. You can get a bear tag for $45, I think, and a wolf tag for $30.
Yeah, for non-resident.
Yeah, why not?
That's a really good deal. Yep. And I think Yellowstone was like the whole big foundation, I want to say, for the wolf issue. That's when wolves, that's when the whole wolf thing, really started. And speaking of Yellowstone, remember, Gary, don't pet the bison when you're in Yellowstone.
Oh man,
don't be a tourist moron or Huron or whatever they call them.
Dude, that is crazy, man. Like, I've seen videos of like the bison like gouging this woman 10 feet in the air. It's just crazy. And it's like, I don't even understand, like what goes through people's minds with that. Andy, you worked in Yellowstone for a bit. Do you want to tell us about that?
Man, you would be you'd be surprised. It happens way more than you hear about it too. You might see 1 or 2 videos a year, and when we were there, it's happening all the time. It's mostly foreigners, that come down and think it's a petting zoo, and even the elk, they'll get right up close to them and I got pictures of like people with their kids 10 yards from a bull during the rut, and it's like, dude, like you're just a moment away. So, but yeah, I don't think they understand that it's not a zoo. And they don't. The grizzly bears, they run the place. They pretty much go where they want. We had quite a few while we were working that would just kind of mosey through the job site, and not really care that you were there. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And what's crazy was I've actually got a video. A pack of wolves come down a hillside and they chase a grizz off of a kill that it had, and they ran him out of there with his tail tucked. Yeah.
Jeez.
Really? Wow.
Gosh.
We're staying at the Fishing Bridge RV park, and I heard that there are grizzly bears in that area.
Oh yeah, I rebuilt that RV park.
Oh, nice.
You did? Sweet.
Yeah, all the water
Very
services, cool. All the asphalt. So the fishing bridge, we directionally drilled underneath the river there. We were 35 feet below the river bottom with a carrier pipe to carry the water, power cable and stuff from the water tower we built as well.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Very cool. Well, thanks, man.
What a small world. That is just
wow. Thanks, Andy. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, it was a cool experience.
I
was there for 3 years and I didn't see everything I wanted to. So
you got to go back there, man. You gotta. It's crazy how packed the parks are. I was in Grand Canyon a few years ago, so it's like the main part of the park, where it's like all the buildings and whatnot where everybody goes to. Well, the elk just walk right on through. Like that's the thing where we are encroaching on their territory, and it's like these animals, they don't have, like, they do not care. They'll just walk right on through. So we're taking photos of the canyon. My little brother at the time, he's like, oh, I want to say 6, 7, maybe 8. And this bull comes up right behind him. It's like 2-3 feet away from him. And we're like, Tyler, don't move, because you don't know what these bulls are going to do, and it's just crazy. It's like not just in Yellowstone, but it's everywhere, like animals are just unpredictable, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows with them. But luckily he didn't get hurt, but it was pretty funny though. That's for sure. But it's beautiful in all those parks, man.
You gotta be careful, Dan, because natural selection can get you, So I've heard some crazy stories in Yellowstone Park. One of our good family friends, who's a guide just north of the park, North Yellowstone Outfitters. He actually grew up in Yellowstone before it was a park. His family, they were technically the first Caucasian settlers in the territory of Montana. So they've got some stories, that you would probably believe, but it's crazy. So I couldn't imagine, how things have progressed over the years in Yellowstone. Only what people say, but crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a fun time. You guys will have a good time there. You gotta get you gotta get off the road though. You gotta get away from the pile of people. Pick a hike, go for a small hike, and go see some stuff.
Yeah, we plan on it.
That's all the cool stuff is.
Yeah, I went there to Yellowstone in 2019, and it was so packed, man. Like Old Faithful was crowded, the restaurants were crowded, everywhere was, and we were traveling with a lot of different people with us at the time, and not everyone's a hiker, or not everyone wants to do the hardcore hike, so we couldn't do as much. But we might go back there this summer in July. Like I said, depends on whether we head up to Jackson after Cheyenne or not. But there's so many awesome parks, man. And I was reading some articles on hunting in the parks, like I think that was like there was something in Yellowstone, I can't remember which article it was, but there was a serious consideration of allowing hunting in Yellowstone at one point, but it would be very limited tags. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Like I thought I saw something about a year or two ago about that, or maybe it was on a Steven Ranella podcast, I think.
Yeah, there's a weird deal every year. They they have to cull a bunch of bison, which isn't really a popular thing that they let everybody know about. But I don't understand why there's not an auction tag for guys to go in there and be able to hunt the bison instead of just killing them and take all the funds, which I'm sure guys will pay piles of money to hunt bison in Yellowstone.
Yeah. Dude,
and then send those funds towards the Park Service. But I'm sure there's optics would not be very well on that. So
Yellowstone just put up a video not a video, it was a story recently. Some dude saw a small bison calf in one of the rivers, whether it was Yellowstone or whatever river, and he thought it was drowning, so he jumped in the river and saved it. Then the calf was rejected by the herd, by its mother and everything else, so the calf was destined to be grizzly food. Well, so the park, it's their policy, the park euthanized the calf. And people lost their ever-loving minds.
Yep.
Why didn't you put it in a rehabilitation center? Why didn't you do this? There's places that take them. And then the park is like, it's not our policy. And people got to realize that nature is brutal. And when we interfere, that animal's life is pretty much a done deal. So, but that's another thing. It was all the antis and all the people that they don't have a clue on how ecosystems really work and how we are supposed to, interact with ecosystems. And that's another big problem is there's too many Donnie do-gooders out there that think that they know better, and they don't.
Yeah, so when we were there, a gal actually grabbed one and put it in the back of her bison calf, put it in the back of her SUV, and drove it to a ranger station because she said it looked cold.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
crazy.
God.
But
Yeah, there's the
Never mind the big woolly coat.
yeah,
Uh,
but
oh, man.
I wanted to, Jake, I don't know if you wanted to elaborate a little bit more on One Outdoors. I wanted to give you a chance to kind of talk about it. Whatever you want to, not to change the subject abruptly on you guys, but kind of just let everybody know what it is. And
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. You know, and I'm not going to go too deep into it. We don't need to do that. But basically, there's a for-profit and a nonprofit organization, and everything we've been talking about is right up the alley. You know, we're going to be making gear, sell to people to go outdoors and use and have fun. Our latest product line is a elk vitals target. You can see it up at oneoutdoors.org. Really designed to improve hunter ethics, practice on a heart and lungs vitals target, steel target, so you get that audible confirmation, but also the visual confirmation on where your shot placement is. So improving hunter ethics, reducing meat waste there, just fun products like that. Excuse me. And then one of the guys on our team, his uncle started Bass Pro, and so we've got just a really cool lineup of all these different trips all over the world for hunting and fishing and fun stuff there. And then on the nonprofit side, Restoration Outdoors will take 10% of the net profits, and we work with folks in the world of trauma healing. So we'll send, you know, whether it's a kid whose parent committed suicide and that kid just needs a break going through a hard time, we get them on an outdoor experience, or a pastor that's burnt out at the church. So trauma healing is obviously a huge bucket, you know, so there's a whole array of different things we're doing under that bucket. Another one's fly fishing for veterans out in Colorado this upcoming, well, probably 2024. We're working on a big trip out there, but yeah, and then 2%. So of that 10%, 8 goes to trauma healing, and then 2 goes to conservation. So we're also participating in conservation projects domestically and abroad. Teaming up with a couple different organizations. One of them is Blood Origins, who you've probably heard of. We actually just had a donor come in and donate a wildlife museum to us. It's about 200 pieces of taxidermy from all over the world. And so we're going to use that as a place to educate and drive awareness around some of these conservation projects that people can participate in. Everything from working with sea turtles to, you know, collaring a black bear to darting a rhino, and working with anti-poaching groups in Africa. So it's all over the map. But yeah, man, Andy, I appreciate you letting me share a little bit, but we're sure excited to be starting to ramp up on the business side and work with folks on some of these projects. So thank you for the time on that.
yeah, no problem. I'm actually on your I don't know if you can hear me clicking around, but I'm on your oneoutdoors.org. So if anybody wants to check that out, it looks pretty. You got some hats and some swag for sale. And is that a steel target? Yep.
Yeah, steel target. And we've got about 25 to 30 other products that will be going up in due time, and then we'll probably bring on a distributor as well. So just to give consumers options for sleeping bags and pillows and all kinds of fun stuff as well. So
nice. Heck yeah, that's cool.
And you're locally based, Washington?
Yeah, based in Washington State. So Linden, Washington, just below the Canadian border up there. So
okay, yeah, you're just up north of us. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. You guys want to keep chatting about some hunting stuff? We've been on here a little over an hour, so I'm pretty free all day. But I just wanted to give an opportunity to make sure you guys, you know, get out there what you want. You know, like your One Outdoors or anything you guys have coming up. Dane, if you want to reiterate the next meeting you got going on and what you're doing too.
Yeah. So June 8th, we're hosting another meeting, continuing what we discussed in earlier this month of getting involved, you know, and by this time in June 8th, they will, I know on the website, they have to have published the address. I've chatted with some secretaries in the department. they said they were still deciding on an address. So hopefully when we do this meeting, they'll have the address out, and we can find ways to get speakers, whether it's virtually or in person. I know some people have discussed carpooling, but I think just getting those speakers is just going to be really important. And we're going to continue to reiterate being respectful, having facts, and giving people resources of what to, how to speak your voice, and B, place to find facts and resources like the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. They do pages on they have a whole page on how hunting is conservation. They give like 20, 30 reasons why it is. So continuing to share those resources with people is what we'll do. And also as well, just getting more involved with each other and getting connected. We can't just rely, on one group or one person. It takes a lot of other people to get involved and really chat with each other. So yeah, that's some good stuff that we have coming soon with that. And then as for the June 23rd meeting, so that is on June 23rd, Friday. They'll be discussing the conservation policy. And then Saturday, there's another open public comment, which they do. So in total, there's 3 open public comments I recommend people sign up for. I'm still writing my speeches just so I can get it out of the way, but I think I have a good feeling about it. I think we'll be able to get a lot of speakers.
Dane, don't forget to give your, if you can, give his contact information so people can get a hold of you for your web, for your Zoom address.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to send out a Zoom link. Just get it in people's calendar. I'm going to send that out sometime this week. But yeah, I think it'll be really good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Dave, if that's something public, we'll share it out for you, man. Happy to.
Thank you.
Love to be there, of course. But...
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to email me any links you want me to add to my link tree on any of my social media as well. My website's down. I have to switch hosts. The one I was using is not 2A friendly, so yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
But I can post all the stuff in my link tree, whatever you got. Let's help get the word out there.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely send you some links sometime today or tomorrow. Yeah,
well, gentlemen, I can hear my 20-month-old daughter in the background. Pregnant mama could probably use a little support, but I really appreciate your guys' time. Andy, thank you so much for having us on. Dane, also thanks for making me aware of it, and I appreciate you for everything you're doing. So hope to stay in touch, you guys. I'm looking forward to building the community around it as well. So
yeah, guys. Yeah, Andy, thanks for letting me come on. Thanks, guys. I had a lot of fun with this, and I look forward to what we can continue doing. It was a really great episode, and I'm always down to talk. And also, I will give links out to important resources. And yeah, I can't wait to see what we do. I think there's a lot of good work to be done.
All right, yeah. Hey, Jake,
appreciate you guys inviting us on. I was just saying, appreciate you guys inviting us on. We're just a father and son duo. Just kind of, we're in it to win it, and we want to make sure that this happens. So I really appreciate you guys just kind of including us in on this.
Yeah, and thank you for what you do. Giving us our, I don't have time like other people, so it really helps. You guys carry on our voices a lot, so I really appreciate it.
Teamwork.
Yeah, absolutely. You better go take care of that baby,
dream
Jake.
work.
Yeah, man, I'm on it. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Good talking.
Hey, you guys have a great day.